Get ready to find your recipe for a successful real estate lifestyle from America's top expert here at Greenlight REI with your host, Lance Edwards.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to this session of Greenlight REI, where you'll learn all about the successful real estate lifestyles revealed by our guest experts. And today, I got to tell you, this is above beyond special treat for me. The gentleman we'll be talking to today, if it wasn't for this man, I wouldn't be talking today. I wouldn't be involved in real estate, wouldn't be involved in apartments, wouldn't be doing all the things, great things, been blessed to be able to accomplish. And his name is Mr. Robert Allen. And I got his way of introduction. People always ask me, Lance, how'd you get started in real estate? Well, there was this book. There's the book right there. It's called Multiple Streams of Income. And it was written by our guest today, Mr. Robert Allen. This book talks about entrepreneurship, real estate, infopreneuring, and all those things. And thanks to our guest, I got involved with apartments. Within 3 years, I was retired from a 20-year job. A couple of years after that, I got involved with training all of you in the entrepreneuring business, released my own best-selling book, and out of the proceeds of that, we make monthly donations to some great causes, thanks to this man right here. So this is a special treat for me. So Bob, welcome to Greenlight REI.
Oh, thank you very much, Lance. It's I got an email from someone on your team saying that Lance wanted to talk to me. And I said, well, sure, tell me about Lance, and they said, well, he's very successful and he's great in apartment investing and he's also teaches other people. And I thought, that sounds great. And so when we connected, your story just blew me away, frankly. Lance, I am just so honored to be on this call with you because you're a doer. Because you learn, you read multiple streams of income and then you go do it. And most people read books and then they don't do anything. So I'm honored to be here with you, Lance. And for those of you who are his students, I guess if he's my son, then you're my grandchild, right?
There you go. That's exactly right. There you go. So well, thank you so much, Bob. And we're going to be talking about some of the doing here. But I want to start off for everyone's benefit. If you wouldn't mind, tell everyone your background. How did you get not only in real estate, but everything you've been doing with entrepreneurship and helping others? You wouldn't mind.
Well, everybody has a story. And your story is, you have a story, you tell your story, I tell my story. I graduated from BYU with a master's in business administration in a very bad recession at the time. And I'd read a book on real estate. There were two books I read that changed my life. Number one was Think and Grow Rich. And number two was a book by Nickerson, How I Turned $1,000 into $1 million in real estate in my spare time. And he was the guru at that time. And then followed him was Lowry. And then after that came me. And I was just like you. I read the books and I went and did it. So the bottom line is I couldn't find a job. So I decided to just go right into real estate, start buying real estate. And found a mentor who was a multimillionaire in my city. And I said to him, his name is Paul Jukes. And I said, Paul, what should I do? And he said, well, I have a project I'm working on here. Help me and I'll help you. And so I bought my first property with his advice. And then, as they say, the rest is history. I bought 30, 40 other properties after that. And then I had the hunch, the intuition to write my book, Nothing Down. Let's see, where is it here? Here it is, Nothing Down. A proven program that shows you how to buy real estate with little or no money down. And then, as we say, onward, upward. And that's how you and I connected. You went to one of my seminars and then took some of my trainings. And I'm just so proud of you, Lance. You did it.
Well, thank you. And one of the things you're also really famous for is the challenge and take people out of unemployment lines and give them their first deal. So, and that's when you started, teaching and hands-on. Talk about what led to that, and you talk about doing. What does that mean? What does it take to do this stuff?
Well, people are very skeptical. And when it comes to making money, like with you and me, they're skeptical about why we teach. And they say, well, you know, if you're making so much money in real estate, why are you teaching other people how to do it?
Okay.
And first, obviously, the reason I did it is because I love to teach, you know, and I love to write books and I love to communicate with the world. I think that's the same for you, Lance. You love to teach.
Yes.
And so I did a challenge with my publisher, Simon Schuster, at the time. They said, you know, does this work? And I said, well, you could send me to any city and take away my wallet, give me a $100 bill. And in 72 hours, I'd buy an excellent piece of real estate using none of my own money. And the publisher said, could you really do that? And of course, I had never done it. And it's a good way to talk, and so I said, yeah, I could do that. And so he said, well, run that in the advertising then. And so they ran it in the advertising, and it showed up in the Los Angeles Times, and they didn't like that ad. And they said, we don't believe that's possible. So they challenged me, the Los Angeles Times, sent me to San Francisco with a reporter, watched me for 3 days. I bought 7 properties in 57 hours and gave the reporter $20 back in change. You try living in San Francisco for $100. And then I started doing these challenges. I said, you know, this is kind of part of my brand. The word challenge has my name in the middle of it, Alan. So I thought, well, I'm just going to keep doing challenges. So I did this. The challenge to the unemployment line was send me to any unemployment line. Let me select someone who's broke, out of work, and discouraged. In 2 days' time, I'll teach them the secrets of wealth. In 90 days, I'll be back on their feet with $5,000 cash in the bank. And so we went to St. Louis, and it was in the middle of the country, and on the license plates of Missouri, it says the Show Me State. So I said, okay, let's show you. And so we selected some people from the unemployment line, and I taught them the system. And 90 days later, they made $5,000 in cash from nothing, no credit, no job, no nothing. Kind of like me when I got started. I didn't have any credit. I had $1,000 my dad had given me for my first real estate investment and no job, you know. So the bottom line is I've been doing challenges like that ever since. People say, well, come on, Robert, prove that this will be done. And it's kind of like, I'm David Copperfield for real estate investors.
Oh, that's good. Well, you have been known for the challenge. And you talked about people are skeptical. And I want to drill down into that, Bob, because some people that are listening right now might be thinking, well, sure, I'm sure, Mr. Allen, that worked great, back in 15 years ago or whenever that was done, but that would never work in today's market. So let's talk about that. How would you address that objection or point of skepticism?
I'd say the same thing. Send me to any city right now in the world, right now, and let me show you how to buy property with little or no money down, because it's based upon an eternal principle, or maybe it's a timeless principle here on the planet, is that real estate is illiquid. Did you get that? You can't sell it quickly. And therefore, since it's illiquid and you own it, if you own it and you need to sell because of a pressing problem, then you put it on the market to sell, and it may be a month or 2 or 3 or 4 or 6, way beyond when you needed the money. And therefore, because it's illiquid anywhere in the world, it means that some people become highly motivated. And this is the principle. Only 1% of the sellers out there are highly motivated. And in a hot market, kind of like we're in most cities today, that percentage is really slim. It's small, but it's still about 1%. And 99% of the people, they don't want to sell below the market. They don't want to take your nothing down offer. They think you're out of your mind. But 1%, they don't think you're out of their mind. They are absolutely praying that you show up. And when you do show up, because you're persistent, eventually you find 1 or 2 or 3. And every year you should buy 4 or 5 properties every year. And because you buy them from highly motivated sellers. And then they're more flexible because they're forced to be flexible by their circumstances. And then we buy them with little or no money down.
That's a great explanation. And actually, it's the first time I've heard this point used emphasized about the illiquidity of real estate and, trying to match up that phenomenon with that motivated seller. That's a great point, and it's the global aspect of it as well. It's just human nature. It's human nature. All right, so you made a comment earlier on that, there's the doers. People out here can go and do it. Let's drill into that, because you've coached, trained, and mentored however many countless tens, hundreds of thousands of people. You've taken them out of the welfare lines. Let's talk about, in that experience, Bob, what is it that differentiated, or what is there any secret sauce between those who do and actually, receive the reward versus those who never get it? What differentiates it, and what is the secret sauce?
Boy, that is a great question. Can you teach the secret sauce? I think it's really those who really want it, and therefore people who are afraid, where the fear stops them. And a person who is not afraid, doesn't let their fear stop them. So, as a quote I've always said is, you must make your dreams more real than your fears. That means your dreams of what you really want for your life, that must be front and center. And what is front and center in everything you do, then your fear fades in the background. But most people have the fear front and center. When they think about taking a risk, they have these fears that attack them and drive them to the sidelines. Well, if you want to live a life of fear, then you get that. Whatever you fear, you get. Remember that. Whatever you fear, you get. If you're afraid of rejection, you get it. If you're afraid of poverty, you get it. Whatever you're afraid of, you get, because it's intense for you. It's what you're thinking about constantly. And for whatever you're thinking about with passion, you get. So don't think fear. You must think of your passions. You must think of what you want, your dreams. Put that first in your life.
That's very good. I don't know if one thing I remember when I was first learning from you, we're talking over 15 years ago. And there's a story you told of the Blue Vase. As I recall, it was the Blue Vase. I don't know if that rings a bell with you. It was about setting a very grand vision for yourself and using that to drive you forward, to in fact drive you through those fears. Does that ring any bells when I mentioned the Blue Vase?
Yeah, the Blue Vase story is even in the challenge book, I gave away the Blue Vase story to everybody who wanted it, because it's a very profound story. It's been dramatized from a little book called The Go-Getter by Richard B. Kind. And this was done in the 1920s. And so it's an old book. So it's 100 years old. But it's been dramatized about somebody who comes back from the Vietnam War, and he's got a bad arm and he wants a job, and they say, well, we can't hire you. And he says, give me a challenge. Let me take the Blue Vase test, and they gave him the Blue Vase test, which is to get a blue vase in a window of a store in San Francisco. And of course, when he goes to get this blue vase for the rich owner of the guy he wants to hire him, they moved the blue vase. They made the blue vase difficult to find, and everybody fails the Blue Vase test because they don't persist. Well, our hero goes through like 20 different challenges, and the door is locked, and he can't find the owner, and all that kind of thing. And he was ready to throw a rock through the window and get the blue vase, but they put a policeman next to the door so he wouldn't do that. So bottom line is he does whatever it takes, and he gets the blue vase, and of course gets the big job. But the story is about the relentlessness that you need if you really want it. Nothing can stop you. And so I wanted everybody to listen to the Blue Vase, and you did. So that was the story.
Well, I'm Exhibit A. I'm living proof of it. Getting that grand vision. It is persistence. You hit it on the. I think it is indeed persistence. Matter of fact, that drives me back to another question. I'm going back to the challenge days. So you're grabbing people in other cities out of in current situation, unemployed. They're literally on an unemployment line, and you're taking them to success. Let me ask you this: how much of it was their drive versus your push? How much was their drive versus your push to get them there?
You can't push people to their dreams. You can't drag them up the mountain. No, it doesn't work. If they don't want it that badly, then you teach them the best you can. And that's a knock on our industry, by the way, because they'll go, you taught them and you charged them a bunch of money and they didn't achieve it. So you're a fraud, you're a failure. And I say, hey, I can't drive people up the mountain. I'm going to teach them what works. And if they won't work it, then they deserve what they get, right? So I've said in my career, there are 3 skills you need to be really successful, and they're called system skills, people skills, and mindset skills. System skills is how do you find the real estate? How do you rent it out to a tenant? How do you do the financing? That's all the nitty gritty left brain system skills for real estate investing. But people skills, how do you create trust when you're negotiating with somebody? And how do you get the banker to trust you and your partners to trust you? It's all about negotiation and persuasion and trust. And that's a skill, and people have to learn that. And then final skill is the mindset skill. That's you. It's what you say to yourself. People skills is how do you sell other people. Mindset skills is how do you sell yourself to go do what's impossible to do, because no one else can get you there. You're the only one. You're it. So, Lance, let me ask you, which of those 3 skills do you think is most important?
Oh, mindset, far and above. Mindset.
But far and above. Absolutely. And yet most people, when they start, they think the system skills is where it's at. If I just teach me how to buy real estate, teach me all the systems, well, that's why when we do our trainings, it's all 3 of those things that together, because they all 3 are important. You can't miss any one of them, but mindset skills are really, really, really important. And that's why I spent a lot of time teaching that. I didn't for the first part of my career. I only taught system skills. But as I got into half of my career, I realized, you know what? If these people have fear, they won't do this. It doesn't matter how good the system is. They won't do it. So we attack fear first. And then in our seminars, we would send them out on trainings, and we would have them go into the marketplace and to do crazy things like go find the money to buy an apartment building. Well, I live in San Diego. We taught the seminar in San Diego, and they were from Minneapolis, let's say. And I said, no, go right today. Go into San Diego. Find the money today. Somebody has the money for your deal in Minneapolis. So there's a deal right here today. In other words, we forced them to go in the marketplace and meet people and fail. And when they overcame that fear, they were unstoppable.
Amen, brother. I want to share with you that, part of your legacy to me is, I'll talk about the mindset. And I was introduced to that by you and learned that from you, and then, and just dove into it in my own business. And so now when I teach, mindset is the core. It's the center of it for all the same reasons you just said. Because if we don't, I can give you a book that tells you how to do it.
Right.
And I can give you a book. I can give you a book how to ride a bicycle, but until you get on it and fall off a couple of times, you haven't learned anything.
Right.
And I think that mindset. But the good news is it's all learnable. We're not born with it. It's all learnable. And so that's why anybody can be doing this. Going back to the skepticism. And I think it's important that people be aware of it, because if they think just all they need is a book, then they are going to be disappointed. No, there's all 3 components that Bob just said. So, all right. So, Bob, there's people listening right now. I'm still speaking to the skeptics out there. And, they're wondering, gee, am I cut out for real estate? Am I cut out for this entrepreneurship? Do I have what it takes? How would you address that, or what would you say to answer? What does it take to get started and to do this? Is there any qualifications they have to have?
Have you ever met a successful skeptic?
A successful what?
Skeptic. Have you ever met a successful skeptic?
No.
So don't. I used to try to convince the skeptics in my audience, and I call them the frowny faces, and I would, jump through hoops to try to convince them. And finally, I realized that's a waste of my time. I want to look for the smiley faces, because in an audience, 10% of them are ready to change their life right now, and the other 80% are just looky-loos. And then there's these 10% skeptics who are really trying to drag you down, who are there to try to figure out why it doesn't work. So I only talk to smiley faces now. It's the only kind of people I want to talk to. And if you're referring to the skeptics on this call here today, they're probably not here. And if they are here, get over it.
Well, that's probably the best advice I've heard on it. That's exactly great. All right, I want to come back to this notion, multiple streams of income. We've been talking about real estate. Explain, if you would briefly, this whole concept of multiple streams of income, what does that mean, and why is that important to people?
You need multiple streams of income. Do you know of any millionaire or multimillionaire or billionaire that doesn't have multiple streams of income? It's kind of part of the definition. It means you're going to be a serial entrepreneur. You're going to be always looking for ways to make money because that's our skill. That's our talent. That's what we do. As an entrepreneur, we look at the world and we see opportunities that most people don't see. And we take advantage of them in profitable ways, in honorable ways. But most people don't think that way. So what I'm trying to say is that as an entrepreneur, you need a portfolio of multiple streams of income, because that's how you diversify your income. You diversify your risk through a portfolio of streams of income. So real estate and a portfolio of real estate, which is streams of income coming in from different properties. A portfolio of stocks and investments that you buy. You have to make money while you sleep, and that's one of the ways you do it. You have stocks that grow and live dividends and things like that. Businesses that you own, and you have to be careful what kind of businesses you buy, because they require your time. And if they are the kind of business you have to be in all the time, that's the wrong kind of business. Warren Buffett is rich because look at his businesses. They operate because they have customers that keep coming back over and over and over again to buy the same products from Warren Buffett over and over and over again, because he buys companies that market repeatable product purchases. And that makes those businesses residual. And so even in the businesses you do, and then information marketing is what you and I do. Problem with you and I is our customers are not repeat customers for the same product. We'll tell them we'll sell a seminar, and they might take an advanced seminar and maybe another advanced seminar, maybe some coaching, but then they don't keep coming back to buy the same book over and over and over again. So that's the challenge with our business. It's not a Warren Buffett business, but why do we do it? We do it because this is our song. We do it because this is what we do. And we have to be there in order to do it, just like Celine Dion. If she's going to do a live concert, she's got to be there. Of course, she can also sell her stuff on CDs, which we have our books that people buy, and that's our CD version of it. But in order to make our business grow, we got to be there. And I have to be here today. You have to be here. We do it because we love it, because that's what we do. That's our job. That's our purpose in life, right?
Exactly right. That's exactly right. Teaching was not taught in school. That's what I usually describe it as. All right. So people are going to want to get involved with you, Bob. And so if you share with us, what are you doing now? What is Mr. Robert Allen up to these days? And then how do they get engaged into your world? How do they get into Bob Allen's world?
Thank you for asking. because every day I'm 71 and I'm going to keep at this for a long time, as long as I can. I teach multiple streams of income all around the world. Last year, I got the coveted Diamond Medallion Award from Delta, which means I traveled like 175,000 miles last year and 1.5 million miles in my lifetime on one airline. I went to China 8 times. I went to Japan 4 times. I went to Singapore 3 times, Canada 3 times, all over the world, and teaching and speaking. And that's the thing where I have to be there. And they pay me very nice speaking fees to go, and I consult with other experts like you, Lance. I consult with a Lance in Canada, and a Lance in Italy, and a Lance in China, and a Lance in Japan. In other words, they're in the next stage of their careers, and I'm now consultant to them. But I also market information products. And of course, I have a program called the Wealth Legends, where I talk about multiple streams of income, which I market. You find out about that if you go to robertallen.com, and sign up for our little free whatever it is, and let me communicate with you. But lately, this year, where I'm going to focus on 2020, is on teaching people to write their own books, teaching people to launch their own seminars, things like that. Not necessarily real estate, and anything. And when you have an ebook, you're sitting on a fortune. And I have partnered with some of the smartest marketing geniuses. Of course, I'm a content creator. That's my genius, and I'm a teacher and a speaker. But you need a marketing team. You need somebody who knows how to market, who lives and breathes marketing. So I've formed a team with them, and you'll hear about it more than likely. We'll be doing a lot of Facebook advertising this year. Give away a lot of free information. And if you're interested in your own book, if you ever wanted to write your own book, not you, Lance, you've got your own. You're a #1 bestseller. But for those people who are on the call here, have other expertise, I coach you. I'll show you how to do that, because that's my specialty.
I got to give a plug to that point, because this is the book that it was prompted by this man right here, and went to #1 bestseller, all the ways he taught me, and have done 2 others. We got 3 right now. I'm gonna tell you, I don't care what business you're in. Your best business card in the world is this book right here.
Exactly.
Right here. When I'm in my seminars, all over the country are doing these, and people are in the audience, and they're paid to be there, and almost inevitably, every one of them has a copy of this book. It's dog-eared. It's got Post-it notes sticking out of it, and it's the introduction. And that's how I got introduced to Bob. Multiple Streams of Income. That book, and which I found by accident. To tell you the truth. And so everybody has a book in them. Everyone should be writing a book, and you can do fabulous things with it. And just let me give one more plug for this gentleman. Now with this book and the others, I wrote another book on old Florida. It had nothing to do with real estate last year, bestseller on history of Florida and my family in Florida. And we use all the proceeds of these books that we donate to the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. We're sending monthly checks to them, that seed was planted by this gentleman right here, Mr. Bob Allen. So I'm going to tell everyone, if you want to get plugged into anything in regards to books, real estate, entrepreneurship, information marketing, this is the man right here. And for those of you that are old enough to remember, there used to be these commercials about E.F. Hutton. And you can remember, they used to say, when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. Well, here's the E.F. Hutton on the podcast today. With all these topics we've been talking about. Get plugged in with this man. Go to robertallen.com and just get into his world. So thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for everything you're doing, Bob. You're the best. You're just the best.
I'm humbled. I tell you, the greatest thing for me is to realize that the money bought nice houses and nice cars, but they get old, and there's a new model that comes out next year. But what never gets old for me, and what really transformed me, was when somebody started telling me about using my ideas and succeeding, and it changed their life. And not only changed their life, but it changed the generations of lives around them. So now after 40 years, I get to see the generations. I get to see their children and their grandchildren coming back and saying, Robert, because of the book I read, I changed my life, then I changed my family's life, and now my grandchildren's lives. And I didn't realize it at the time. I was just a young kid. I didn't have any perspective at all when I wrote nothing down. And now I see the perspective. I see like, holy smokes, this has generational effect. And so the success story, your success story, Lance, it just gives me goosebumps. I told your story to my wife this morning, and I said, I'm just so excited to talk to Lance today. And she was so amazed by your story. And this is just what we've done for my entire life now. So when you write a book, your book is a seed to change people's lives. There's a book in you. Write it, get it out there. Good luck to everybody.
All right, Bob, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for everything you're doing now, literally globally around the world. And thank you for being on our podcast today.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone. It's Mr. Robert Allen. Go to robertallen.com. Get in plugged to his world. Get involved with anything that he's talking about or teaching you. And until the next time, everyone, this is Lance Edwards with Greenlight REI. And go out and make your lifestyle a successful real estate one. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to The Expert with Lance Edwards. Let us now blatantly and shamelessly bribe you toward creating your own real estate lifestyle by offering you a whole bunch of free stuff. Go to greenlightreinvesting.com and get you some free stuff and this session's show notes.